UCLA loses a football executive to Oklahoma in the latest hint that the Bruins have a lot of catching up to do. Austin Reaves' agent is tired of the rumors around his client, like you never have rumors with the Lakers, right? And Roki Sasaki can begin throwing again for the Dodgers. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is May 27, 2025. Welcome back to the Sanctum Sanctorum of LA Sports. If you like being in the know about LA Sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Sorry for the late start today, by the way, guys. As for the scoreboard, the Dodgers defeated Cleveland 7-2, trimming the magic number down to 108. As for today, the Dodgers are at Cleveland at 3. Atlanta's going to be at the Sparks at 7. What do you say we get to the news? UCLA is learning a very difficult lesson that in order for many college football programs to even have a prayer of keeping up, it's not enough to have an elite coach. And by the way, I think we all like Deshaun Foster. We don't even know if he's an elite coach. But not only do you have to hire a coach who can recruit his ass off, you used to add a recruiting director, to kind of make sure the day planner was up to speed. And now who the hell even has a day planner? Let alone just a recruiting director. That's about as helpful now as watching game tape on VHS. You have to have the money. You have to build a front office now, an entire front office. And by the way, you have to model it to who you're trying to recruit, which is bananas. Consider USC. USC's big flaw was that they tried to model a front office after the NFL. It seemed like a good idea at the time. They even went to the Rams with their NIL money and said, how would you divvy this up to make sure everybody gets paid right? They followed the Rams' advice, and the players abandoned the Trojans anyway. Which is why Lincoln Riley spent a lot of effort to try to rebuild that. You can't even be like an NFL team. Even though college athletes are technically professionals, they don't know how to act like professionals. They're just out of high school, for Pete's sake. So USC, they go out, they hire a general manager, Chad Bowden, who was telling stories about dressing up as a leprechaun while he was over at Notre Dame. Grown-ass men doing the river dance and holding bowls of Lucky Charms to keep players at Notre Dame, which is really goofy. And it turns out that UCLA now may have to follow USC's lead. They may have to follow Notre Dame's lead because they reportedly just lost their director of player personnel to Oklahoma. Stacey Ford, he used to work with the Sooners offensive coordinator when they were both over at Washington. Now, how big of a loss Ford is as one guy to the Bruins is anyone's guess. He only spent 1 year at Westwood, which means he had to help a last-minute head coaching hire in Deshaun Foster cobble together a roster among the ruins left by Chip Kelly. The results, UCLA wasn't bowl eligible. So UCLA has a series of questions that they have to answer in order to build their program back up. For example, was last year's problems the fault of getting a late start in recruiting? Did Ford not meet the challenge? And oh, by the way, what does the UCLA football front office look like? Because for all we know, it was Stacey Ford and whatever crickets were running around the office. I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is that much like USC, Oklahoma specifically hired Ford because they were going to build an entire front office. They weren't just leaving it to one guy. Ford wasn't hired by a coach. He was hired by the GM of Oklahoma football with the specific intent of building everything out. The business model of college football has completely changed. Completely changed. And the Bruins now have to get with the times. You not only have to get a guy who knows how to assemble a team, but apparently you have to hire a bunch of people who know how to assemble a team and then have them all dress up as Joe Bruin. And that's the memo. Austin Reaves' agent has grown weary of the clickbait porn surrounding his client this offseason. Oh, the only way that the Lakers can land the center that Luka Doncic craves is by trading away the white boy who tanked in the playoffs. That's been apparently going around the socials and the interwebs. So Reaves' agent, Aaron Riley, went to complain on the socials, quote, "Next year is going to be a show. People really have no idea what's to come. Keep putting him in trade rumors for second string centers," unquote. Easy, counselor. Easy. Take a breath. You've never heard me say one cross word about your client. Besides, you should know damn well that rumors and the Lakers are like the Reese's peanut butter cup of professional sports. Oh, you put your peanut butter in my chocolate. Oh, you put your rumors in my Lakers. It's the same damn thing. What you should concern yourself with, sir, is what Rob Pelinka thinks. And the story is, unless they get back a top-tier center, your client stays, not a second stringer. And by the way, nobody is confusing Austin Reaves with D'Angelo Russell. The Lakers like Austin Reaves. You've got to learn when to take a breath. Touch some grass. You'll be happier. It's not Austin Reaves that needs to worry about his future, because the Lakers have a potential unrestricted free agent in Jackson Hayes, who is actually taking the other tack. He believes he still has a future in LA. He told the LA Daily News, quote, "I feel like I showed I could be out there playing more. Obviously, there's still a ton I need to work on, but I felt pretty good through the regular season," unquote. My dude, I noticed how you didn't mention the playoffs. You should know. You watched a lot of the playoffs from the bench because you committed more fouls, 8, than you actually scored points, 7 in the entire playoffs. Again, it's not Austin Reaves' agent who has to go to social media. It's your agent that has to find you another job. It seemed that for a while that every day when we were talking about USC football recruiting and all the amazeball things that were happening there, we were forgetting something. Because according to ESPN, USC is not just killing it in football recruiting, they've apparently been doing it in basketball recruiting as well. ESPN ranked the recruiting classes for 2025 in basketball, and according to them, Eric Musselman put in the work. The Trojans have the 20th best recruiting class in the nation, so saith the worldwide leader in sports. And we already knew something involved with it, right? We've been talking a lot about Elijah Arenas' skills and unfortunately his driving record. But the dude was a top 15 prospect. But that's not all. 44th ranked prospect point guard Jerry Easter figures to get playing time this year. Now, if you watched USC basketball last year, the Trojans lacked a bunch of things. In particular, size for rebounding and a point guard. They have one now with Easter. But there's 2 other points to consider about the immediate future of USC basketball. 1, is Musselman changing his strategy on how to build a team? He usually raids the transfer portal, and this wasn't just with USC last year. He was doing it all the time with Arkansas. But you're figuring, is he changing the way he's looking at things because he has direct access to top prospects all across the Southland? And by the way, he could be mining that field without real competition. UCLA's basketball program intentionally raids the transfer portal. They don't believe in recruiting high school players that much anymore. Second, if you're looking for some downside to what I'm talking about, former USC coach Andy Enfield is still arguably a better recruiter. He went to SMU. SMU is currently ranked 10th for the class of 2025. The Athletic is reporting that Dodgers starter Roki Sasaki will begin a throwing program this week. He was placed on the injured list about 2 weeks ago with shoulder impingement. Keep in mind, this is still putting him weeks away from returning to the majors. Let's say, for example, you're a gambling degenerate. If you're trying to handicap a horse race between 4 injured Dodger starters, which is a lot, you tell me who you would put a wager on as the first back. The odds, I would say, are probably Tyler Glasnow first, but we don't know enough about Sasaki. Do you put him ahead of Blake Snell? Do you? We know that Shohei Ohtani is only coming back after the All-Star break. If all 3 of them aren't coming back until after the All-Star break, then the only upgrade you're getting in the immediate future might be Glasnow, which is craziness. Absolute craziness. And as for the bullpen, pitching coach Mark Pryor said Tanner Scott's problems can be traced to pitches that are just going straight down the middle of the plate. That would be a problem. I believe that. Scott got pushed around twice last week, once against Arizona, once against the Mets. And some stat geek said that Scott's pitches are in the strike zone 58% of the time, but hitters are making contact on 80% of those strikes. So the problem that the Dodgers are facing is that they couldn't even pull Scott from the closer role even if they wanted to. They have a bunch of former closers on the roster. Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan, Kirby Yates, Michael Kopech. The thing these 4 guys have in common, they're all former closers. There's another thing they have in common. They're all injured. So, lots of questions the Dodgers are struggling to find answers to. And that's not all, by the way. And it's very strange because despite the fact that the Dodgers are leading the division, and we should all be happy about that, you can't avoid the red flags that are flapping around. Hate to say it, Max Muncy, if it's not one thing with this guy, it's another. He couldn't hit at the start of the year. Now he can't even field ground balls, let alone throw them over to first base. Muncy has committed 8 errors this year. Only Manny Machado is the only third baseman who's committed more. But the thing with Machado is he can still hit. Now, Dave Roberts didn't exactly give Muncy a vote of confidence either. Quote, sometimes it's a range thing. Sometimes it's a throwing thing. Sometimes it's getting the ball out of the glove. Sometimes it's been just not catching it cleanly. By the way, Roberts pretty much said the only thing Muncy is adept at doing is zipping up his fly right now. But I digress. Anyway, going back to what Roberts said, I see him working consistently every day, so that's what I'm going to keep betting on. But yeah, he's still got to make the plays, unquote. Not exactly a vote of confidence. Now, infield coach Chris Woodward thinks that Muncy has been rushing everything, which could be true. Former Dodger utility man Chris Taylor found a job, for those of you who are worried. And if you like Taylor, you should still be worried because he was signed by the Angels. This is a franchise that is so woeful that right now they are celebrating just being 3 games under 500. Taylor signed for the league minimum. The Dodgers still owe the guy about $15 million for this year. We mentioned earlier in the program that sometimes player reps need to not be on social media. Speaking of player reps who need to stay the hell off of X, Insta, you may remember a couple of weeks ago, the manager for Angel City FC forward Christian Press carped about how the team wasn't playing her client enough. 4 knee surgeries be damned. She won World Cups with the women's national team. Who cares if she looks like a cyborg with a 3-foot-long scar down her leg? Put her on the field. And because Angel City doesn't want any more bad news, they're like, okay, we'll do it. Well, Press is injured again. Now, we don't know how bad the injury is because everybody is being so hush-hush, but, let's give a nice golf clap to Denise White, forcing the issue, and now her client has been forced to the bench. Well done. Well done. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about the future of UCLA football. How much of a front office do they actually need? And for that matter, do you believe do you really think Austin Reaves is going to get traded? You let me know. And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.